Good afternoon to you, Mark. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, time now for our shootout. It's an annual highlight around one of the most exciting racing tracks in the world of motorsport.
It certainly is, Neil. This is the best racetrack in this part of the world. It's got unbelievable character, elevation change and big consequences. If you make a mistake, it's unforgiving. It's so fast. It's 6.2 Ks, almost 300 Ks down the straight. Over half of the lap is full throttle. The qualifying record from yesterday is Fabian Coulthard with a 2:05.6, the fastest lap ever of this racetrack. And we're going to break it down into three sectors. The first sector gets you to the top of the hill. The red sector takes you across the hill and down the S's to Forest Elbow, and then onto Conrod Straight, the most famous straight in Australian motorsport.
Here's the lineup. Our Armour All lineup of those drivers that will participate in this shootout. We'll see Craig Lowndes, which is a remarkable story in itself, given the repairs that had to be affected to that car after the incident at Turn 2. We've highlighted Garth Tander's name there as a result of the fact that his teammate Warren Love was tangled with Lowndes up here at the top of Mountain Straight. It's a tremendous performance by the group at 888 Race Engineering to be able to get that car back in shape. I went down there 3 or 4 times this afternoon just watching the progress. It's the third time this weekend, in Roland Dane's words, they had to break out the welder. There's a torque sensor on Jamie Wincup's car that failed early in the weekend and created a problem with the underbody of the car. They had to rectify that. Then Jamie found the wall on the cutting earlier in the weekend, and that obviously required a fair bit of surgery, followed indeed by what happened at Turn 2 earlier on, where Craig Lowndes was just trundling up the road, and all of a sudden Warren Luff, with a brake issue, ended up hard in the back of the Red Bull Racing Australia Holden Commodore.
We've commented so many times over the years, Neil, that we love watching Craig Lowndes at his flamboyant best. And after coming out of an accident like that, there'll be a little bit of getting used to what the car feels like. Make sure it tracks straight. Make sure when you wheel align them that it doesn't pull left or right. And he has been, over the years, so successful here. He's had 2 pole positions. He's had 5 wins. There's been many times where he has been the benchmark operator at Bathurst. So look at the crowd reaction before he even starts the lap. They know the stakes were high to get this car out into the top 10. And who knows, from 10th position in the top 10 shootout, where Craig Lowndes will land.
This is one of his specialties, to be able to turn it on at short notice. So he'll be working very carefully at the moment to understand the level of grip that he's playing with. As I said when I was downstairs a little earlier, beautiful conditions out there at the moment, but right at this particular second in time, there's cloud cover. And the cars...
Good job, mate. A bit more tap on those brakes if you can.
Jeremy Moore, his engineer, change in their behaviour depending on whether or not there's direct sunlight on the road. So they're looking at telemetry data from the car. Lowndes is just making sure that he's got even brake temperatures. One of the things that happens at this racetrack, because of the 2 very long straights, is both the front and the rear brakes cool out at a very different rate. And they clearly get a mega heat twice. Once down the bottom and once at the top. Now, this is the replay of what happened earlier in the day. And if you were in the garage and saw the damage to car number 888, to consider that it's even out there at the moment is an amazing story.
Break if you can there, mate.
So that was earlier in the day in practice. So Jeremy Moore just encouraging Craig Lowndes a little bit more brake temperature. So 2 very long straights, the brakes cool out, they get super hot at the bottom of Conrod. Happens again down here in the secondary stop into the final corner, where they haven't really temperature recovered from the earlier application. And that's something that all the engineers work very hard on around here, trying to make sure that they get that right. The crowd applauding Craig Lowndes as he commences his first flying lap of this shootout. And he got into the shootout with a time of 2 minutes 6.7.
And anytime you can replicate for 1 lap what you can do in a complete qualifying session, you've done an unbelievable job. So look for that. Every guy will be trying to not only better what they did before, they will be trying to coax the car, read the conditions. The conditions are different. You feel like a pioneer. You get to the first corner, you're trying to work out what grip level you've got, what tyre temperature you've got. Are the brakes sufficient enough yet? Jeremy Moore was just saying, get the brake temperature up, mate, because the brake temperature helps the tyre temperature. You can just hear that shudder, Neil, understeer there at the cutting.
And that's something that's been spoken about by everybody so far this weekend. Nervousness in the cars, in the front and the rear.
And that's a fair way down.
Very conservative run in the first sector. That's what Mark's referring to. Over the top at Skyline. Winding his way down to about 85, 90 kilometres an hour through the dipper. As he crested Skyline, he was approaching north of 200 kilometres an hour. Wipes massive speed off. Forest Selvo. Now, the longest straight in Australian motorsport. Wide open throttle here. Third to fourth, 185 kilometres an hour. Fourth to fifth, 220 kilometres an hour. Fifth to sixth, 260 kilometres an hour. And then right on the hard cut. Just picked up the rev limiter at the end of the run. Flat through the kink. So it looked to me as he came out of the cutting and in the first little run through Reed Park and towards McPhillamy that it was just a conservative run trying to keep the car as balanced as he could. It didn't look like it had a lot of grip. I think he just wants to get it done. So lap time for Craig Lowndes.
Nice clean lap. Pick up those tyres and bring on in.
2 minutes 7.7.
So that's 1 second away from what Craig's best was, and we don't know yet what that really means in terms of all the guys running at this stage. Until a few more cars run, we'll get a bit better idea of what the conditions are like. But Craig was very conservative, and that's a smart play given the drama from this morning.
He's on the line, I think. Craig Lowndes just exiting turn 2. Neil Crompton and Mark Scaife on the line. What was it like, CL?
To be honest, a little bit dirty from the utes, but you know, I'm sure the track will clean up as the guys go around. But the car itself, the guys have done an amazing job to at least get us back in the 10, and can't be happy with the guys. The car feels good, no vibrations. Looking forward to tomorrow.
Hey, well done, Craig. That was a very conservative lap. You could tell that you were just across the top of the hill, just making sure there was no little mistakes. That was a nice, clean lap, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, Scaife. The last thing we want to do is be repairing more cars, that's for sure.
Exactly, mate. Well done. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, mate.
Craig Lowndes there, 2 minute 7.7. Remember, we're skipping over what should have been Garth Tander. So we move on now to James Moffat, one of 3 drivers about to enjoy his first ever top 10 shootout. As I said before, his dad grabbed 4 pole positions here in his illustrious career. 1970, 71, 72 and 76. This is a big moment for James and a big moment for Nissan. A little over 12 months in their development cycle, ongoing engine refinement, ongoing aerodynamic refinement, and Moffat sets off.
And he got his first pole this year, Neil, at Queensland Raceway. It was a great moment for the Moffat family. James did a 6.6 in the real qualifying session to get here. This is his 5th Bathurst start, and he's been very fast all weekend. Let's have a look at how James Moffat approaches this. Huge pressure.
He complained a lot through Thursday and the early part of Friday about the car behaviour. There was a lot of tyre squeal and front end push then. Understeer, didn't totally respond to the way James wanted it to turn. Conservative into the cutting. Because of the resurfacing here, the track surface and its behaviour has been very different to years gone by. The $6 million joint investment by the federal government and the Bathurst Regional Council, and it's taken a lot of chasing to get the cars to work right. A little bit of the camber and the profiling and the run to the cutting has bitten a number of drivers this weekend, so everyone approaching it gently.
And it's always hard at the end of Mountain Straight because it's the first right-hander. The left-hand front tyre is cold. So it's always difficult to get a guide as to what that grip is. He ran a little bit wide at the right-hander before the dipper, which compromises the run off the drop. He's had to straighten it up on the exit. He's done a nice job to recover that.
He's approaching the second timing intermediate here. He was down on Lowndes a little through the first sector. He's matched him in the second sector.
And this is always hard. You just don't know how, when you're doing almost 300 kilometres an hour, how hard to attack this. Remember, you only get one lap to do it. Through there, flat out. That is an unbelievable corner and a big brake lock. He just got a turn. That was almost going to lock the left-hand front. Good job.
Last corner now for James Moffat. Teetering as he got through the chase. Quite a lot of wheel work through the final turn 23. And James Moffat achieves 2 minutes 7.74.
Out by 200 there. Only missed out by 200. Things on straight for tomorrow. Good job.
Managing Director of Nissan Australia, Richard Emery's in the background, as are many of the Nissan executive. Here he is over the top of the hill, and we've seen some troubles here in the week so far as well. Garth Tander got in trouble there, Shane Van Gisbergen's been in strife. The car didn't really grip up, didn't quite hit the markers that he would have wanted to up the top here, and this is the spot that Mark Scaife referred to, just at the point of turn, and it broke away a little in the rear, but extracted everything he could get. This is another big story. Car number 18, driven by Jack Perkins, son of the six-time winner of this great race, Larry Perkins. A huge performance. He's already got a lot of experience here, and it predates racing here, because we can all remember Jack Perkins literally as a tiny child in this paddock. He's an absolute student of the sport. He knows it, understands it, breathes it. That's his engineer, Dave Patterson, on the left. His team owner, Charlie Schwerkolt, behind. He's not the one with the tusks, by the way. And they are very proud and pleased that Jack's got into this top 10. That was a ripping lap.
This is Jack's 8th Bathurst start. His best qualifying this year is 11th at Symonds Plains early in the year. So what a great job for a Perkins. Historic moment for Australian motorsport to have a Moffat and a Perkins back in the top 10. Great story, and let's have a look at young Jack. I had a long chat to him a little while ago about how you approach this, and this is a huge amount of pressure for a young man aspiring to a motorsport career a la his father.
Sid Sandown, he's been in New Zealand at a New Zealand Super Touring event with Greg Murphy, so the kilometres are useful. A little less audible evidence of understeer through there by comparison to Moffat. Grabs third gear through the Blind King, and have just stepped in the rear as he grabbed second. That's what bit Jamie Whincup earlier in the weekend.
Time to look for Jack. He did a 6.53 in the real qualifying session. Let's have a look at this first sector, see where he is versus Lowndes. He's just under it by almost 0.08. Dave Patterson, bit of a grin on the face.
Uses plenty of the exit space on the run between rear parking and filming. His dad grabbed the pole here in 1993. They had a chat last night. LP was pretty pleased and proud. Dipper. It understeered a little in the previous corner, but he got it back online through the dipper. Coming up now, the second timing intermediate for Perkins. We'll get a read. He's looking to get that throttle into 100% as early as possible to lengthen that straight.
Good job. He's up by just over a tenth of a second. Everybody in their car are all on the radio talking about Jack's lap so far. Richard Holway and Scott McLaughlin are saying, is he up, is he up?
Don't reckon he got as far round the right-hander at the chase as Moffat. Flat. The car behaviour looks good. All of the Ford Performance racing cars have been very stable here. Little bit of rear locking just going into the final corner. Misses the apex. That's to do with that brake temperature variation that I spoke of, and that will have hurt Jack right at the last bit. 2 minute 8.2, and it stepped out just as he unloaded the rear and loaded the right front. We'll take a break and a breather from Mount Panorama as the top 10 shootout continues on 7. Top 10 shootout continues at Mount Panorama. That's the replay of Jack Perkins. A little mistake at the final corner. Reaction from his teammate Cam Waters and the engineering group in the garage. And now, first of 3 of the Brad Jones Racing Holden Commodores in this field. Jason Bright, we're on board the Team BOC Holden Commodore, sharing with Andrew Jones. He's been working hard to get temperature in tyres and brakes in the early part of this warm-up lap. So far in Jason's illustrious V8 supercar career, 16 pole positions, but never a pole at Mount Panorama. Got very close in 2004. He was second in the PWR Holden Commodore that he shared with Paul Wheel at the time. He's a veteran of the game, 475 races down in his V8 supercar career for 20 wins, and there's his teammate right of screen, Andrew Jones, team owner Brad Jones, who successfully competed here 24 times. Bradley, 3 seconds, one of them to co-commentator Mark Scaife, and 3 thirds, and it would mean an awful lot to the little team from Albury if they can stitch something together here with one of their 3 entries.
It certainly would, and he's always been very fast here, Neil. The time he did in qualifying was a 6.47. In fact, he was on for a better lap than that. He locked a wheel at the last corner, or second last corner at the chase, and ran wide. So let's see what Bright does. He's done a pretty good job of warming those tyres. He's worked very hard on the warm-up lap, and he made the apex very accurately there for the run-up mountain straight.
He was on target in qualifying yesterday to really match his teammate Fabian Coulthard, but he got it wrong just going into the chase. I went and asked him about it, whether it was a set-up issue. He said, no, it was me. It was just a driver error. But the expectation is that he'll be strong in this shootout. He's very, very good with his setup knowledge. Early in practice, Wally Story, the engineer, said the only thing we didn't change were the stickers. They threw everything at it trying to fix this car, to the extent that what Jason did was drive in and out of the pit lane on multiple occasions, just testing corners, bring it back in, test another corner, bring it back in. Then they smartened it up. It did a 10, then an 8, then a 6, and whack.
And this looks great. It looks very good. The car looks very accurate. You can see by that wheel work. We're on board as we get to McPhilly Park.
By about 0.2 of a second at the first timing intermediate. That's the view the drivers get over the top of Skyline. It's a remarkable view from 220 kilometres an hour. By the time they get here to the dipper, all that speed has been washed out. It's about 85 to 90 k's. Briefly in third gear, it's a blind right-hander back to second. Got to watch the concrete wall at the apex here. And now it's a chance to just pause and think. 2 green boxes, the timing splits look great. And he's split to the second intermediate. Again, a couple of tenths up. So he's making good ground here, Jason Bright. Sizing up how he'll get at the chase. What's the grip feel like? What do the brakes feel like? What can I get away with?
Well done. This is where he made the mistake yesterday. He got it stopped. It was turned very accurately. He's used every bit of road, the little motocross berm on the exit of the chase. He's going to do roughly a 6.7 by our current calculations. Let's check this number out. 7.04. Lost a little bit of time at the last corner, but very, very good to be 0.7 of a second faster than Craig Lowndes.
So Jason saying to Andrew Edwards, his engineer, it was a lot slipperier than he expected. We're going to try and have a word to him if we're able. But a great performance for Jason Bright, 2 minutes 7.04. So track condition is one of the interesting questions. He's on the line. Hey, Brighty, what was the lap like? What did the track feel like?
It was a reasonable lap. It's actually a bit more slippery than what we've had before, for sure. It's I think probably just because we followed the utes out, it's not quite what we've had before, but I was pretty happy with the lap. It was tidy. I was probably left a little bit on the table at the chase and last corner after yesterday's effort, but all in all, pretty happy.
All right, thank you for taking time to have a chat to us. Tremendous performance. Well done. Thanks, Jason. So Jason Bright at the moment heads the leaderboard. 2 minutes 7.04. Will we get into the 6s? Will we see a 5? So a question mark over the track conditions. The wind is still pretty calm out there at the moment. We're going in and out of shade. Scott McLaughlin on screen. He looked nervous when I chatted to him before down there. He had the eyes on. In fact, I felt guilty when he spun around and looked at me. I didn't really want to interrupt the thought process. This car's had a lot of oversteer in evidence. Every time we take onboard shots of it, we see him catching it. But right now, he and his engineer, Richard Holway, who's on screen on the left-hand side of that right-hand box, they've been working really hard to make a car that will do a cracking lap in the 2-minute 5s or 6s. But they've also then got to engineer a car that can do 161 laps without sliding all over the place. Away we go.
He's been the benchmark qualifier all year. 7 pole positions. His average position has been 3.8. Very, very good in terms of that performance across the season. Just got to turn nicely there. That always is a good indicator. A little bit of oversteer on the exit. You always get a little bit of it with the crowning of the road. It sort of falls off to the exit curve. Slightly narrow approach to the cutting, which takes a little bit of the oversteer away. Takes the outer bump away, which caught Jamie Whincup yesterday. This is under the tree. We'll get a first split for you in a second. Very nice. Just slightly up on Jason Bright. Uses all the road and some in between Reed Park and McPhillamy. He had a monster moment here earlier in the weekend. He ran right out into the grass and saved it.
Youngest ever winner of a V8 supercar race. And it's been a terrific story, the Volvo story in 2014. Different engine architecture with what's described as a flat plane crank. So you have a listen to the way this car sounds. It is a magnificent sound. Two green boxes.
Listen to this.
Just under 300 kilometres an hour. Feeding it gears back to second. Turns it in a bit early, a bit Lowndes-esque, the way he got at that left-hander. How dirty it is. Garbage on the road there. Final corner here for McLaughlin. It's a good lap. What was the last sector like? Good enough to put him in the 6s. Scotty McLaughlin, nice job. 2 minutes 6.77.
That was a great job. He did a 6.3 to get in there, so he's the closest of all the guys in terms of being able to replicate the time from qualifying. That was a very smooth lap. Couple of conservative approaches which really served him well. As I said, he had a monster moment here earlier in the weekend through McPhillamy Park, and he has been very, very fast. Scotty Muxgate, well done. That was a great lap, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's a little bit slippery out here, but yeah, I try to do my best.
Any particular part of the track giving grief, or is the whole thing just down on grip at the moment, Scott?
Mate, this joint's crazy. The whole thing's a problem.
All 6,200 metres. Hey, it's a great lap. Congratulations. It was a privilege to have a look at you on board there. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, cheers, boys.
Good luck, mate. He's a great boy. And that was fast in those conditions. 2 minutes 6.7 for Scotty McLaughlin. Now Mark Winterbottom, reigning champion of the race. He's had a couple of pole positions here previously in 2007 and 2010. They've been very confident inside this garage all weekend. Rolled out strong. Gets underway. Let's have a look on board here with Mark Winterbottom. And right away, he'll now have a read on what he's got. What were the brakes like? What was the brake balance like? What was the front to rear car grip like? And then you either get inspired, or maybe you think another corner or two before I make a determination on that.
100%, and this is where you get the best read. The first corner of the lap, as in up the hill, get it stopped, turn it in. You can hear that understeer. Wouldn't quite make the inside apex, the inside clipping point. Ran a little bit wide at the start, but he got it back online for the exit.
The reason for the tyre chatter is that as Mark gets through the corner, he has to pull more steering lock on to get the car to turn, and the more lock he pulls on, the more it chatters the tyre on the road. Heard it again then, a lot of understeer there. That would have been very close to the concrete wall, but have a look at that green box. 51.6 the timing split for him. It's about a tenth and a half better than McLaughlin's time at that point. The Ford fans are loving it. Skyline, 220 k's, a little wriggle from the rear with the brake application. Feed it third, feed it second. Through the right-hander, he's very wide. That was super close to that wall of the dipper. That has cost. That
was a massive moment for the Bathurst champion of last year. He struggled in qualifying this year. He hasn't had a pole position this year, and it's just slightly down. That was a little mistake, but don't worry, it's only 1/10 away. That's still achievable if he's good in this next sector.
Last pole for him was at Phillip Island last year. It's been a Ford drought in 2014 for pole positions. Using the engine a lot to stop the car. Now the second hot brake stop here. It'll run it up into the limiter in fourth. You can hear it rattling away in the background. A little bit of brake locking again from the rear.
I think he's got it.
Unbelievable considering what happened up the top. 2 minutes 6.6. So what might have been is the question.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. He probably lost 0.3 of a second. Check this out.
Miles away. It's a car width from the apex of the right-hander, and how he recovered and didn't clobber the concrete wall there is pretty impressive. Here's the replay from onboard. I was talking about him feeding it gears. Oh, he's had to have a couple of seesaws at the wheel to be able to get it on. Grant McPherson, his engineer, his teammate Chaz Mostert there in the background. They're applauding him at Pepsi Max Ford Performance Racing, and Frosty is on the line. Hey, mate, great lap. P1 at the moment, but you spooked us at the top of the hill.
Oh, yeah, spooked you. Try being in here, mate. Oh, a bit of that going on, but no, it's good. It's cooled down a bit. Our car was very good in the hot weather. It cools down, and man, there's some tyre scrub. But how good the shootout laps at Bathurst. Man, they are so much fun.
They are the highlight of the year, aren't they? They are unbelievable, and mate, that was a great lap. Big moment, but got away with it.
Oh, I've got to do some laundry. That's bad, mate. That's bad.
Thanks, Frosty. See you, mate. Ford fans were loving it. And Mark Winterbottom is the fast man at the moment as we take another break. We're back with the conclusion of the shootout shortly. Time now for the last three runners in our top 10 shootout. And the man on screen is Dale Wood. This is his 7th Bathurst 1000. Never before has this man qualified, and yesterday it was genuine enthusiasm, not only in their garage, but all around this precinct when this young man punched out a 2 minutes 6.2, completely startled everybody. New livery on the car this weekend for Advan. It's a grey with chrome stripes on it. Beautiful presentation. They changed it just a couple of weeks ago, and it'll remain that way now for the balance of the season. It shouldn't be a surprise because he was the Dunlop Series champion last year. But so hard is this business to try and make way in and around the experienced pros that you have to fight against that we didn't see that one coming. Mark Scope, it was a brilliant job.
It was a great job. His best qualifying was 3rd at Winton earlier this year. And for a young man, 31 years of age, this is enormous pressure. This is the pinnacle of the sport, the most high-pressure one lap in his career thus far. And it's fantastic to see him at this level for this particular lap. Let's have a look at how he approaches it.
Lap gets underway, green flag. 6.2 kilometres of Mount Panorama. Possibly the most important lap of Dale's career so far. And he loves the car. I had a chat to him about it this morning. He said it's beautiful. I've never felt a car like it. His teammate is Chris Piffer, who's also been doing a lot of kilometres here this weekend. He's done a great job. He had a little rough with the wall earlier today, but it was no setback. Braking area turn 2, cars online. Not a lot of tyre squeal. When I went to have a chat to him about it, his son Jackson, baby son Jackson, was absolutely squawking. I said, this is an interesting preparation for the shootout, but he's pumped up. He loves the car.
And I heard his guys say to him on the warm-up for this, just go and enjoy it, mate, which is exactly the right approach. Let's check the first sector. A little bit down, but don't be too concerned by that because it was a little conservative and you'd expect it. That's the smart way to approach it. It's such an unforgiving racetrack. There is no mistakes that you can make here without paying the ultimate price. This is where Winterbottom almost crashed on the previous run.
And that was his wife Jess on screen earlier. Jack Jackson's mum. She had the job of calming him down. So now, up to the second timing intermediate. Remember, this is the second of the Brad Jones racing cars that we've seen in this shootout. Another one to come. He's lost a bit of ground over the top of the hill in that sector relative to the best time that we've seen. He's quite a long way off Mark Winterbottom. But just to get in this top 10 is a brilliant performance. And I think that's the underscore here.
And although it's conservative, your point's 100%. Tomorrow's payday, Neil. He and Chris have been driving very well. I think he's done a very good job to just go and do a good, solid lap time. We'll see what this does. This is going to put him about 7th as we currently forecast. And what an unbelievable story for the week. Congratulations to the team at BJR to have 3 cars in there.
And that's not bad. 2 minutes 7.9 drops him into position 6. And certainly nothing to be sneezed at. And just to be in that shootout, it's a proud achievement. 19th at Sandown in the first of the Vertec Enduros this year. And now Shane Van Gisbergen, stand back. He will light the place up. He will light the place up. He said to me, the car is fantastic. And then there was a hesitation, except when I get to about lap 5. And then it's awful. He said it's much better today. And it's been a real challenge for him this weekend. He's had a couple of little rubs with the concrete wall. But these guys have been doing a great job. Originally built by 888 Race Engineering, this car, the people that operate the Red Bull Racing Commodores. Steve Hallam, vastly experienced team manager and engineer, managing operations in there. Was a long-time employee at McLaren Formula One, then at Michael Waltrip Racing in NASCAR. He hurt himself, fell off his bicycle on the Gold Coast a couple of weeks ago after someone got in his way, but he's hasn't changed his focus of making sure that he, Shane Van Gisbergen, Jonathan Webb in this VIP Pet Foods Holden Commodore can get a result this weekend. So far, it's 6 career poles for Van Gisbergen. Bathurst has not been a great stage for him over the years.
And you know what I like, Neil? He started the lap early. He definitely started the lap earlier than anybody else thus far. He's got more tyre temperature to start this lap. And we know how vigorous he's been. We've seen how wild he's been. He bumped the fence coming out of the cutting yesterday, and he also bumped it hard coming out of the dipper. We thought it was going to put him out of qualifying. He did a 5.7 yesterday.
And he was very, very close to knocking off Fabian Coulthard. So it was an all-Kiwi lockout at the end of it all. It's also the GT lap record holder from earlier in the year here as well. He knows how to put together a lap at this place. His previous best qualifying here, that was a couple of years ago, 2012, he grabbed a 3rd. But results have not been great for him. But one thing about this guy, about Shane Van Gisbergen, there are no millimetres left.
And as you can see, that time there's almost 1/10 up on the fastest time thus far. And this is where the commitment is required. He uses every bit of road, as Neil said. There's nothing left. We've seen a couple of guys make mistakes here. You've got to make sure you hold it in against the fence.
And it was yesterday where he actually had a drama here. He hit the gutter and bounced into the outside wall. And how he recovered to do a 5 was special in itself. Second timing intermediate coming up. Van Gisbergen with 1 green box, and it becomes 2. So now working towards top gear. The longest, fastest, wide-open throttle portion on any Australian racetrack. And then a massive commitment into this chase. Look at Shane sizing it up. Found the red limiter. Carried good speed through the left-hander. Short shift the third to try and calm down the wheel spin. Gets it stopped cleanly. It turns in, finds his apex, picks up the throttle hard and early. It's a great lap from Van Gisbergen. And he goes to the top. 2 minutes 6.3 from the Kiwi. That is a great lap in these conditions. Jonathan Webb, his teammate, top right of screen. And they've just opposed Pepsi Max Ford Performance Racing in the bottom right. And that was Steve Owen there watching. So Winterbottom back to P2.
And Winterbottom's little mistake was the difference that we saw at Sector 2. A little mistake was basically 0.4 of a second. But Shane, very, very committed. He got around there. Check how close he is to the fence here. I took a deep breath. That's as close close as you can ever be. And then he got it up through here and almost got the fence at the Fujitsu sign. And look at the tenacity, the face on Shane Van Gisbergen. That's a 100% level of commitment, and you get a reward. This is one of the great racetracks for risk versus reward. 100% commitment gets you a lap time, and that's the best example. Shane Van Gisbergen goes to P1. There's one more man to go.
He's got the eyes on too. Tried to call him up. We couldn't get through to him there, but that was an impressive lap by Shane. So, fellow countrymen, Fabian Coulthard now. It's his turn. Car number 14, Lockwood Racing. Brad Jones Racing, the third of their entries in this field. The fastest man ever in a V8 supercar around this racetrack yesterday. He's paired with Luke Ewell, vastly experienced and very fast this weekend. Coulthard's previous best in qualifying is a 5th here. He's had 6 career pole positions. He's just drifted out of the championship battle in recent races and lost a little bit of ground, but make no mistake, fiercely competitive. He's also a left foot breaker, a different technique as he attacks the mountain.
32-year-old has driven so well this week. This first sector is really important. It's actually been where he's been the benchmark so far. In fact, he has the fastest time in that section of the track. He's used every bit of road. Nice flow. The car looks good, Neil, doesn't it?
Coming up to the first intermediate, we'll get a read on that, but it does. A little bit of tyre squeal, initial understeer. He had to come out of the throttle and reset there, but that's a very good split. He's in the game. It's not quite the best, but it's close enough.
That was a big moment. It was very oversteering at the end of the corner there. He had to get out of the throttle. That's about 180k. That will have cost him that little bit of time we saw on the first sector split.
Wasn't totally happy with the car. Oh, he's wide, not as wide as Winterbottom, but wide through the right-hander where Tander got trapped earlier in the weekend. Wasn't totally happy with the car in the earlier practice session today, but he told me they were chasing race setup.
0.52 down. Hard to make up for it from there, given that that's a similar time to what Mark Winterbottom did. This will be a struggle now to get onto the front row. So Fabian's got to stay committed. He'll have a lap time on his dash. This will give him a datum number. He'll know where he's about in terms of position.
He was in the limiter earlier than some, so it's made good pace off Forest Elbow, good corner exit speed and good straight line. Oh, a little bit of slide. He actually dropped the left rear onto the dirt there, so as he went second to third, it slid. Final corner. It isn't turning. It's not turning to his satisfaction. There's his engineer, Phil Keane, top right. P5. That is a pole position for VIP Pet Foods, Techno Autosport, and Shane Van Gisbergen. Well done, Shane. Big moment in his career. And congratulations to he and Jonathan Webb. He earned that one.
And look at the look on his face, Neil. Absolute elation. Well done.
Let me shake your hand. Well done, mate. I know you were driving the car from down here, but what a beautiful, committed lap. I mean, he was on it hard.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's he's done it all the time. He always does. He just pushes. Everyone thinks, you know, he's on edge, but he's not. He's got control. He knows what he's doing. And, yeah, perfect lap.
We talk about the Murph lap, the lap of the gods. I was just with Murph watching that. We called that one the oh my God lap. It was a bit like that, wasn't it, eh?
Yeah, it was wild. It always is watching Shane, and I think my heart rate's about twice what it would be if I was in the car. Yeah, but fantastic job by all the guys. It's looking forward to tomorrow.
I reckon you blokes are red hot. I'm going to go and try and grab a quick word with Shane Van Gisbergen. He's going to jump out of the car here. I mean, this guy really puts it on the line. Yeah, good on him. He's a very, very committed driver. And look at that, fans love him. We'll just wait for him to jump down. Hey, Shane, mate, I got to say, watching that, you'll go back and watch the video of that, mate. That was a very, very committed lap. It was a very Shane Van Gisbergen lap. You must have enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought about it before. I knew the track was going to be good for us, and I just tried to put a clean, fast lap together, and that's what it was. It was really good. But, yeah, so stoked for our guys, and, yeah, thanks, everyone. That's awesome.
Well done, mate. Great lap.
So Van Gisbergen pole, low 6, nice job, 0.3 of a second margin. Most of that as a result of what happened to Frosty at the top of the hill. Holden then forward, row 1. Then it's Scotty McLaughlin, Volvo, position 3. Jason Bright, Coulthard, Lowndes, that's a great recovery. Moffat, Dale Wood and Jack Perkins, that's our top 9. Remember that we lost car number 2 earlier in the day.